What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, we're going to be discussing the Carlos Beltran trade, which occurred back on June 24th, 2004. Now, this was a three-team trade between the Houston Astros, Kansas City Royals, and Oakland Athletics, and it saw 5 players change hands. So the first team we're going to look at is the Houston Astros, who got outfielder Carlos Beltran from the Kansas City Royals. And Beltran, over a half season in Houston, definitely made his impact felt. He had 23 home runs with 28 stolen bases. He also hit 8 homers in the postseason, which actually was tied for the record of most homers in a single postseason until Randy Arozarena broke it in the 2020 playoffs. Now, after that half year, Beltran did walk. And, of course, he did seem to fall in love with Houston, so he did return. Thus, we have his role in the 2017 World Series cheating scandal, but we're not going to discuss that today. Next, we have the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Royals got 3 players in exchange for essentially Beltran. And the first one was catcher John Buck, whom they got from the Houston Astros. And John Buck was a top prospect. He was immediately called up to the majors after this trade. And he would end up spending 6 seasons as Kansas City's #1 catcher. Now, he was decent for a catcher. He did hit .235 over that time frame, but he was better known for his defense. He was one of the better defensive catchers in the league. So he would walk after the 2009 season, but he was still a pretty good catcher. Now, they also got a pair of players from the Oakland Athletics. The first one we will look at is pitcher Mike Wood. And Wood spent 2.5 seasons bouncing between the bullpen and the rotation, spending most of his time as a reliever for the team. He was decent, and he relied on weak contact. He did not get a lot of strikeouts, but he did induce a lot of ground balls, so that's something. He was waived after the 2006 season came to an end. They also got third baseman outfielder Mark Teahen. And Teahen, he was a top prospect until he was called up to start the 2005 season. He would spend 5 years as a starter until he was traded. Now, over his time in Kansas City, he didn't provide too much power, but he did have decent stealing ability. Now, he ends up getting traded to the Chicago White Sox in exchange for a pair of players. The first one we'll look at is second baseman Chris Getz. Now, Getz would spend 4 years in Kansas City, and he was mostly platoon bat, but he did start the majority of games in 2011. He offered virtually no power as he had a single home run in those years, but he did have solid speed, stealing 61 bases, before he would walk after those 4 years were up. They also got third baseman Josh Fields. And Fields, he was a bench bat for a half year before he would walk, so nothing great with Fields. Now, the last team in the original 3-team trade was the Oakland Athletics, who would get relief pitcher Octavio Dotel from the Houston Astros. And Dotel would immediately step in as Oakland's closer. He was okay, but he did have an ERA north of 4. However, he did manage to record 22 saves in the 2004 season. He had 7 saves midway through the season into May of 2005 before he needed to undergo Tommy John surgery, and then he would end up walking as a free agent. Now, the last team we have to look at is the Chicago White Sox, who got third baseman outfielder Mark Teahen, and Teahen would spend a year and a half in a reserve role before he was traded away. We will not be discussing that trade. He didn't do all that well for the team. Now, you may be wondering about how the WARs were for these 4 teams. Kansas City got the best with an 8.1 WAR. Houston got a 4.5 WAR out of Beltran. And then the Athletics got a 1.2 out of Dotel. And last place, we have the White Sox, who got a negative 1.6. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this was the Carlos Beltran trade. Have a good rest of your day.